Well, hello everybody. This is Dr. Troy Dukowitz of the Commit and Go podcast, where we encourage you to make big commitments, take big action, and create big-ass results in your life and business. Today's topic is this: we are alive. Thank God we are alive. So this is a podcast that I have put off for many, many days, and as of the recording of this podcast, it was exactly 7 days ago that my family and I were caught in a tornado while we were driving from our home in Illinois to what's called, a place called the Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri. And basically what happened, I'll just give you kind of the short pieces of this story, is that we were driving through, and if you've seen the news at all, Weather Channel, you know there was a tornado that hit in a place called Jefferson City, Missouri. Jeff City, Missouri. That is actually where we were. And we were driving, lots of storms that night, but unlike, we've seen this stuff before. There were some warnings that were thrown out there when we were on one main interstate, and then we kind of turn off the road, the storm stopped, and we just go ahead and we get to continue driving. It was very peaceful driving, actually. And finally, about a half hour, 45 minutes into the second part of our drive, we go through Jefferson City, and it starts to rain very heavily. It starts to hail, at which point we're like, all right, we need to take cover, so we're going to go under a viaduct. We'll just wait for it to pass, and then we'll keep going. And first viaduct blocked. Next viaduct open, so we go in it. Well, interestingly enough, as we're sitting there, in my mind, I'm like, wow, it looks like it's really slowing down out there. I think we can go ahead and keep driving. And so we continue on. But then, literally, our phones start beeping, saying, take cover, there's a tornado. And it says it's in a place called Brazito. Now, my wife and I, we've been making this trip for probably, I don't even know how long now, at least 15 years. I don't even recall Brazito. Of course, when I saw the sign for Brazito, I was like, oh yeah, it's Brazito. But my wife looks it up. So I don't know where it's at. She looks it up and come to find out this tornado is 6 miles ahead of us. Now, the rain is like almost blinding. There is hail, and we're driving. And she says, Troy, we're driving right into it. So now I'm looking for a place to get off the road. Unfortunately, at this point in time, it doesn't exist. There's nowhere for me to go. I do know up ahead, about maybe 2 miles, is going to be a gas station where we can maybe at least pull into there, get inside, go into the bathroom, and we should be safe and take cover with other people. That wouldn't happen. The swirling winds started going in front of our vehicle. The wind's literally starting to push us off of the road. Me gunning it, pushing down the accelerator, and kind of pulling the car, keeping the car on the road as it's trying to blow us off the road. And I just see, like, even as I share this with you, I can just see these branches and debris just flying in front of us and swirling around our vehicle. And we finally come out of this. And as we come out of this, we now are going up a hill, and all I'm concerned about is getting my family away. I'm basically thinking that was the tornado. We need to get away from this tornado because it's going that opposite direction. And as a result, I see on the side of the road a car that looks like it's kind of spun in the side of the road. And I start to slow down, but still going relatively fast. And as I am now parallel to the car, I look and see, oh shit, there's a telephone pole on the ground. I look up and there's a wire overhead. And then bam, our car hits a wire in the road. It takes out the front end of our SUV. My wife says, stop, 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 stop. We stop. We slow down. We back up a little bit. And the next thing you know, we are tangled in this wire through our grill into our hood of our vehicle, where we are now stranded. We're waiting patiently. My wife calls 911. Long story short, it took probably about an hour for them to get there. There was mass devastation in Jefferson City. In fact, at one point in time, I was able to get out of the car. I would look back, my wife and I both looking at Jefferson City, and we literally saw the tornado as it was ripping through Jefferson City, Missouri. A truck would come through, and the line that was over our heads, he hit that line. It took off the top of his truck. So he was now stranded, and we're not touching wires because obviously, you should not touch wires when you get in an accident. So now we're just sitting ducks waiting and praying that the storm doesn't come back. About an hour later, as I said, somebody comes, they go ahead and remove the wires, we get to take off. And now as we drive, I just have one objective. I've got to get us to this condo, the lake house. I've got to get us there. I want my kids to be safe. I was a nervous wreck, but yet had to be composed so that I could make sure that my family knew that they were safe. And both my wife and I knew without saying anything how devastated we were at what had just happened, how traumatic it was, and how close we were to death. as we continued driving, there's debris all over the road. We came upon a truck that was flipped upside down and looked like it had been crushed like a can, like an aluminum can. And then shortly thereafter, we'd get home. Now that night, we would finally make it to bed at about probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, just purely exhausted. And the big trip would be the drive back, because we were going to take that same path home because we wanted to be able to see what happened. We went through it. We want to see what happened. And interestingly enough, as we got to the viaduct where we were sitting, and I would find out later, just so you know, everyone listening, you're not supposed to park under a viaduct if there's a storm, if there's a tornado, because it creates a wind tunnel and it can actually have more damage on your vehicle, on you, on your life if you do so. So this is what's really cool about this, is because my realization is as we were talking to people the night of the accident, they said, oh my gosh, you should see back there. Because back there is where there were 2 semi-trucks that had been flipped over. One of them had been basically ripped in half. Another car had spun off into a ditch. There was mass devastation there. Well, folks, guess where that was? That was at the viaduct where we were parking. What we would find out on the drive home is that that is where the path of the tornado crossed our side of the road and went to the other side of the road to continue through Jefferson City. Now, sharing that story, I'm very happy that I'm finally in a place that I can share that and not break down, because I've been very emotional about this over the course of the last week. But here's the thing. There's so many different lessons that I take away from this experience. And one of them came from a dear friend of mine, David Fletcher, who sent me a private message. And he was like, dude, I'm just so glad that you're safe and your determination saw you through. And like, that was the word right there, because that's exactly how I felt driving. I am determined to save my family. I am determined to get us somewhere safe. I don't know how. I'm not sure how it's going to happen, but I know that we're going to be okay, yet I was scared to death that we were going to die. It was like all of these emotions packed up into this experience. And it's just like, dear God, please let us be okay. And I'm slamming the foot on the gas to keep going, to push through this so I can get us to safety, the other side of safety, determined to make it happen. Now, some of you might listen and go, well, that's pretty fucked up because you're talking about Mother Nature that you were determining it. I do not share this with you as a narcissist, as an egotistical man. I share this with you as a very thankful and grateful man who survived. So I don't share it from a level of being cocky and like, ha ha ha, I'm going to beat the tornado. I share it with you because I was scared shitless, but I didn't have time to slow down. Stopping the car was not an option, as we would have been flipped over. Getting out of the car at that point in time was not an option because the storm was already on top of us. It all happened bang, bang, that quick. So what I had to work with was the moment that I was in, and that moment that I was in needed sheer determination to pull us through. And I'm thankful to stand here and be able to record this message for you today. But here's the question. And this is the reflection for me. The next day, my wife and I felt, not to act like we know what it actually feels like, but we both felt like it was some level of post-traumatic stress disorder that we had the next day. We were just off. We were just almost lethargic. We were just like trying to process, and we just didn't have a moment to process it. So it would take a couple days for both of us. And really by the second day, we're looking at each other going, do you realize our children have already gotten over this? We need to. But they didn't realize how close we were, and we did. But you know what? We needed to get over it. The truth. We needed to get over it because we're alive. Now let's move on and appreciate the life that we have. And the question I have for you today comes down to this thing called determination. Because for me, I walked away from it, and when I finally extracted one of many lessons from it, determination was one of them. I said, okay, Troy, cool. So if determination is the word, and it really is, where in your life have you not been displaying the same determination that you had to make sure that your family came out of that alive? And I had to look. I don't talk about this stuff just to hear myself. I do the stuff I'm talking about that I share with you. So I looked at my own life and I said, okay, where across body, being, balance, and business do I need to be more determined? That maybe I say I'm determined to do something, but my actions have not really shown that I was determined. Or I've been determined, but it hasn't been with the degree of intensity that it was for me to hit the gas pedal and keep going and push through. And that's the question I have for you today. Where is it in your life that you have displayed determination, sheer determination, that there was nothing that was going to stop you. You were going to push through and you were going to make great things happen because everyone's done it before. Identify that time in your life. Then take a look at your life right now across body, being, balance, and business, and look at the 4 B's there and say, where in these 4 areas am I not displaying the amount of determination that I've seen myself display in the past that has always gotten me results? And it's time to course correct right now, folks. It is time to course correct and identify what that determination would look like for your health, what that determination would look like in your spirituality, what that determination would look like in your relationships, what that determination would look like in your business. And for me, walking away from that and realizing that, wow, there's some areas that I can turn it up right now in terms of determination. Not only was I thankful for being alive, but I was thankful that I have the mentality that says I'm going to turn around and I'm going to look at these experiences and extract lessons that can serve me, my family, and the people who follow me for the rest of their lives. This is a lesson that can really help you in all 4 areas of your life. This experience can help you right now if you're willing to, and I did this on Facebook where I wrote, like, make sure no matter what tonight, the people you love, and if you have a family or if you have children, hold on to them longer. Just give them a hug, and as they start to pull away, hold them for an extra 5 seconds. Hold them for an extra 10 seconds. I promise you it'll be worth it. That's your first action step, folks, is right there. Like the people that you love, just hold them a little bit longer tonight and really every day, because we're all fortunate to be living this experience of this thing called life. Number 2, take a look at your life where you have been determined before and you've kicked ass and taken names. And put yourself back into that place and how it felt and what you were willing to do to get the results that you got. And then number 3, take a look at your life across body, being, balance, and business. And where is it that you have not been as determined as you know that you need to be to accomplish the goals and the targets and the dreams that you have? Then identify the course correct. I know that sounds like a lot. There's a reason that I waited for a week, because I knew that, number 1, I had to be able to share this from a place of just like, okay, I feel like I've processed this. I feel like I've gotten through it, and I really do feel that way now. And then as I'm even saying it out loud, I realized that it had to happen on this. If you're listening to this the day it's released, you'll realize that it had to happen on this day. It's a Friday, so that you can actually, if you take this assignment to heart, you'll actually process it over the course of the next 3 days. And it's going to take you into a Monday, into next week, and it's going to give you power, it's going to give you energy, it's going to give you focus, it's going to give you drive, it's going to give you gratitude, it's going to help you to count your blessings. And this next week might be the most powerful week that you've had in months. That's all I've got for you here today, folks. Look, thank you so much. I have nothing but absolute gratitude and love and appreciation for you, for listening to this podcast, for listening to these lessons. And I just hope and pray that you're implementing these things every day in your life, because I know they'll make a huge difference in you creating a life of having it all. That's all I've got for you here today. Look, you know the spiel. Love it if you'd rate and review the podcast. Summer Splash is coming to an end. Send me an email, drtroy@commitandgo.com. More than happy to have a conversation with you via email or even on the phone. As always, I'm Dr. Troy Dukowitz. This has been the Commit and Go podcast, where we encourage you to make big commitments, take big action, and create big-ass results in your life